Seahawks today, maybe the bigger storyline centers around the man who Metcalf, 4 catches in his Steelers debut, will be catching passes from. Aaron Rodgers making his home debut after winning the breakup against the Jets. Storylines everywhere. Here's Brooke Pryor with more.
Steelers safety Jalen Ramsey gave me one word when I asked him to describe what it's going to be like to face a Seahawks offense that doesn't have DK Metcalf. Different. Of course, Metcalf is now teammates with Ramsey, but not so long ago, the two were NFC West foes, and Ramsey said he followed Metcalf in every game where they faced each other. This time around, though, Metcalf will be hosting his former team in his new team's home opener. But Metcalf said this week there's no extra juice in this reunion game. He could be a part of history, though, because quarterback Aaron Rodgers, also making his home Steelers debut, is one passing touchdown away from tying Brett Favre's career passing touchdown mark of 508. But as Rodgers told me this week, it's just a longevity achievement.
Got to make a good first impression at home because they're not going to be back for a while. It's their only game in Pittsburgh during the first 5 weeks of the season. In Foxborough week 3, followed by a game in Ireland against the Vikings. It makes sense. It's a home game for Skull. And then a bye week, week 5, before returning home to take on the Browns in week 6. I don't know if it's technically a bye week because of the schedule.
Giants and Cowboys today from Jerry's Place. Someone is going to be a quick 0-2 in the NFC East out of the gate. And if Russell Wilson plays like he did in week 1, it's going to be the Giants. Wilson getting the start again today, making his second road start of this season, still looking for his first touchdown pass of the season. All while hoping to hold off New York's first-round draft pick quarterback, heir apparent Jackson Dart. ESPN Giants reporter Jordan Raanan has more.
Rookie Jackson Dart will again be the Giants' number 2 quarterback on Sunday against the Cowboys. There's already a package of plays in the playbook for him. Russell Wilson remains the starter, but he realized Dart is waiting in the wings. Wilson said in situations like these, you have to embrace the challenge. He doesn't blink in the eyes of adversity, but he also realizes he has to play better than he did in week 1 against the Commanders. If not, the questions about when Dart will start will only grow louder. It's worth noting that even though general manager and coach are different, ownership is the same. In 2019, the Giants replaced Eli Manning after 2 games with Daniel Jones. If it can happen to Eli around here, it can happen to anybody.
Solid point.
It's a historical
points were made and points were taken.
Significance. In week 1 against the Commanders, Wilson had a 46% completion percentage, his worst since week 2 of the 22 season when he was with the Broncos. Wilson pressured on 16 of 45 dropbacks last week, 2 for 12 for 26 yards with 2 sacks and 2 scrambles on those plays.
What else to watch for?
Eagles running back Saquon Barkley said he knows what the theme of this season is going to be, him getting a lot of attention. That was certainly the case week 1 against the Cowboys, where he ran into an 8-man box over 65% of the time, according to Next Gen Stats. Ends up with 60 yards rushing in that game, only 57 yards rushing in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. A similar deal where Kansas City just had so many eyes trained on him. And yet great results for the Eagles. They had the big Super Bowl win, take care of business week 1 again game. And if that is the case, if the ground game is not the primary focus, that they're going to burn you for it.
Kansas City Chiefs understand that they need a victory on Sunday in Arrowhead Stadium, even as underdogs, in order for them to prevent the first 0-2 start in the Patrick Mahomes era. The Chiefs will try to get that win against the reigning Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, a team that embarrassed the Chiefs in Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans. Now, Patrick Mahomes is expected to be without Xavier Worthy, the second-year receiver, who is still recovering from a dislocated right shoulder, an injury he sustained against the Chargers in Week 1. Patrick Mahomes will try to be better protected this time instead of having 6 sacks like he did in the Super Bowl. And if he is protected, he will mostly rely on Travis Kelce and 2 receivers that did not play much in the Super Bowl, Hollywood Brown and Tyquan Thornton, who was on the team last year but was on the practice squad.
His old mates, Steelers hosting the Seahawks today. Maybe the bigger storyline centering around the man who Metcalf, 4 catches in his Steelers debut, will be catching passes from. Aaron Rodgers making his home debut after winning the breakup against the Jets and then winning the game against the Jets. He spun it 4-4 scores. Let's get to the Steel City. He is your pal. He is our pal. He is Sal Pal in Pittsburgh for the home debut. Sal, what more can you tell us on what to expect for this tasty little 1 p.m. kickoff?
Well, you know I like a headline, and that tells the whole story here in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette sports section. This is a quote from Aaron Rodgers about DK Metcalf. He cares about the right stuff. And when you think about it and you look at what they did last week, gelling so quickly, the chemistry together so quickly, so efficiently, so productively. They get those 4 touchdown passes from Aaron Rodgers against the New York Jets, against a very aggressive New York Jets defense. And Aaron Rodgers said it best. It's about the communication he has with these wide receivers, beginning with DK Metcalf. He sets the tone in the wide receiver room. He's the lead dog. That allows everybody else to get on board quickly. Aaron Rodgers, 4 touchdowns, was to 4 different receivers. And then it's the command of the offense. Aaron Rodgers, 9 of 11 off play action for 108 yards, 3 of those touchdowns coming off play action last week against the Jets. And this is the hallmark of what Aaron Rodgers has been since he became a starter in 2008. 136 of his touchdown passes, most since any quarterback in 2008, have come out of play action. So he's really gelled quite quickly in this offense, has command and control. And the communication with his offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith, he said he called a great game last week. You know, one of the things that I watched was the fact that after some of those big plays, Aaron Rodgers would look over to the Steelers sideline, point to Arthur Smith, give him his props for calling such a good play that got 3 of the 4 touchdowns against the New York Jets in that football game.
They're already in sync. He's going to have to make a good home first impression because the Steelers don't play again in Pittsburgh until Week 6. That's nearly mid-October. Sal Powell joined a reunion on tap in Detroit this afternoon. Former offensive coordinator, current Bears head coach Ben Johnson bringing his team in for an NFC North matchup. It's the Lions' run game that misses him. They were the best in the league last year. Last week, they rushed for just 49 yards in a loss to the Packers, where those Lions only manufactured 13 points. All right, let's get there. Lindsey Theory joining us now from Detroit. Lindsey, fantastic to see you. Both teams trying to bounce back after Week 1 losses. What more can you tell us on how both offenses are approaching this game? Let's start with the visitors.
Yeah, Gary, going into today's game is really interesting listening to and talking with both teams about what they're emphasizing, because for both, it's communication. For the Bears, that challenge becomes even greater today as they deal with a loud atmosphere inside Ford Field that will likely force them into a silent count. Coach Ben Johnson and quarterback Caleb Williams both emphasizing that they know how to utilize that. They're ready to go out and execute it, and that should help them clean up the penalties. For the Lions, quarterback Jared Goff says their communication issues last week were inexcusable and they must fix them today. He also says they must pay close attention to detail. Coach Dan Campbell saying there are no little things and they've got to get those cleaned up and they've got to get lined up correctly. Gary, Jamison Williams, the Lions receiver, tells me they got hit in the mouth last week. They got their jitters out and they are ready to go today. Both teams looking to avoid an 0-2 start in the NFC North.
Detroit, they've won 10 straight games following a loss. That's the longest active streak in the NFL. Lindsey, thanks.
Here in studio, Damon Woody is with us. 46 yards rushing for the Lions last week. How did they get the ground game going?
Well, listen, I think they got to be a little bit more creative. Obviously, they're breaking in 3 new starting interior offensive linemen, and Green Bay exploited that and took advantage of that. This Lions offense, they're at their best when they establish the line of scrimmage, establish a run game, because one thing that Jared Goff wants to do is wants to play action pass and push the ball down the field. But you can't do that unless you establish a ground game. They got to do that now.
If they have no reason to respect the run, they're not going to bite on the play action. On the flip side, Caleb Williams out of the gate, completing his first 10 passes, and then the second half, the wheels fell off. What do you need to see from Caleb Williams today?
Consistency. In the first half, you saw him. He was in the pocket. He was going through his progressions. You know, he was accurate with the football. It's like Jekyll and Hyde between the first and second half. Second half, he seemed more jittery, trying to get outside the pocket. I would like to see him climb up in the pocket, okay? You went and you got Chicago rebuilt the interior of their offensive line. Trust those guys, climb in the pocket, continue with your progressions, That, to me, is the next step for Caleb Williams.
Did have a rushing touchdown in week 1, but maybe you stay in the pocket and move the ball down the field that way. This guy moved over to a fresh edition of SportsCenter, top of the hour. Damian Woody, thank you. 2 in the NFL, Giants and Cowboys from Jerry's place. Someone is going to be a quick 0-2 in the NFC East out of the gate. And if Russell Wilson keeps playing like he did in week 1, it's going to be the Giants. Wilson getting the start again today, making the second road start of the season, still looking for his first touchdown pass of the season, all while hoping to hold off New York's darling, first-round draft pick, quarterback, heir apparent, Jackson Dart. It is good. Speaking of a great head of lettuce, how about Dan Graziano joining us from Arlington right this moment? How soon, Dan, could we see Jackson Dart under center for these Giants?
Well, that's a complicated question because you could theoretically see him today. He's the backup quarterback, and the Giants have a couple of package of plays that they might use him in if the situation calls for it. We didn't see those plays last week, but we didn't see much else from the Giants offense either, so maybe they try something new this week. In terms of when Jackson Dart would be the starting quarterback, that the Giants hope takes a while longer. They want it to be when he is ready, not because they are struggling on offense and they want to make a change, not because something happened to Russell Wilson. They want Jackson Dart to start when he is fully prepared to do so. The head coach, Brian Daboll, the offensive coordinator, Mike Kafka, they have a detailed plan. It's all written down in terms of benchmarks they want their rookie quarterback to hit, and it is based on their past experiences, some of which are pretty good. Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City, Mike Kafka was there when he was a rookie. Josh Allen in Buffalo, Brian Daboll was there when he was a rookie. So they have an ideal setup that gets Dart to where he needs to be developmentally before they ever have to put him in a game. Problem is, those plans don't always work out. If the Giants offense, as you guys mentioned, struggles like it did last week, those calls are only going to get louder. And the Giants players I talked to, one of their offensive linemen, John Runyon, said, Russ has been great since he got here. Hopefully we can get him a better result this week so he doesn't have to listen to all that talk.
All right, it's going to be tough on the road there. It is 2 road starts, 2 division road starts for Russell Wilson. That is Dan Graziano with the latest for us on SportsCenter.
Got to think some New York fans asking that. Why not just put Jackson Dart in right now? It's coach time. And not for nothing, Coach. We need to get you out here in Bristol. We miss your presence in the studio. It's only a couple of weeks until we see you in person. All right, home opener for Dallas. You just saw the Grosfather from Jerry's World. What is your message to the Cowboys today?
Cowboys, why not beat the Giants? You cannot afford to go 0-2 at home in a row. So you got to make it 8. You got to beat these Giants. And if you do, all of a sudden the Giants are 0-2, and we're talking about that quarterback change. It could be coming sooner than later.
Might just be cosmetic because obviously the beasts in that NFC East are the defending champions in the Eagles. And then, of course, you have the Commanders. We have ourselves a Super Bowl rematch between the Eagles and the Chiefs. Coach, what are you telling Kansas City?
Well, Kansas City, why not revenge your Super Bowl loss to the Philadelphia Eagles? That's right. You're playing at home. You cannot get off to a 0-2 start. Why? Your division is much better now. Think about it. The Denver Broncos are much improved. The Chargers, who you just lost to, are much improved. And this team that we like, we don't say a lot about them, but the Raiders, the ones that play with the patch on their eye, they're better too. So that's like these guys, the Raiders. That's right. I know your cohort there. He loves the Raiders.
Yeah,
they're playing with the
Randy's
patch on their eye.
fired
The
up.
Raiders are better.
Hey, 1-0 is a good start for the Raiders. Enjoy it while it lasts. Coach, take a listen to Brian Kelly last night after his Bayou Bengals won a game. It reminded us of somebody.
What do you want me to tell you? I just laid it out for you. We played the game to win the game.
You played to win the game.
I don't know what you want from me.
Hello?
We played the game to win the game.
You play to win the game.
This is ridiculous.
You don't play to just play it.
Coach, will you be waiting until tomorrow's first business day of the week to be sending the cease and desist?
Well, look, Coach Kelly, I love him. He's trying to imitate a little bit of how I went off in New York, but he forgot the jingle. That's the most important thing. And the jingle is this: hello.
Correct.
You gotta say hello. That gets everyone's attention when you say hello. So, Coach, next time you go off, just make sure you say hello first.
It's the attention grabber. All right, it softens everybody. It lessens their guard before you hit them with the "we play to win the game." That is Coach Herm Edwards joining us.
Always, there's some key Week 2 injury updates, and Andy Reid left the door slightly open for Xavier Worthy to play in today's game against the Eagles, despite a dislocated shoulder, but he has been ruled out. So what are you hearing, Adam, for a potential timeline for his return?
And I think there's a reasonable chance that Xavier Worthy will be able to make it back for next week's game against the New York Giants. He returned to practice this week. They ruled him out yesterday. That tells you that he's made some progress from that dislocated shoulder. He's not there yet, but they're hoping that maybe by next week against the Giants that Worthy would be back for that game after being wiped out by Travis Kelce in Brazil last Friday night. Has the dislocated shoulder. And keep in mind, Patrick Mahomes never has lost 3 straight games. Lost the Super Bowl, lost last week, and today they get a Super Bowl rematch versus the Philadelphia. Meanwhile, the 49ers will be without Brock Purdy today. Now, I was told that he has made some progress, and the 49ers are not ready to rule him out of next week's game against Arizona. There's a long shot chance he could be back then, but he's not playing today. Mac Jones will start for the 49ers, his first start for San Francisco, and they are excited about where he's at and the progress he's made in that offense. But it's going to be a big challenge for this 49ers team that will be without multiple players today. We know George Kittle placed on IR. We know Brandon Ayuk still recovering from an injury. Juwan Jennings is expected to play today despite the shoulder injury that left him questionable. And Trent Williams will warm up in the pregame warm-ups to see if he can play. If he can't, Spencer Burford will start at left tackle. But there's a number of changes the 49ers are going through, and that doesn't even include the change that they made a kicker this week, cutting Jake Moody and bringing in the veteran Eddie Pinheiro.
Wow, and despite all of that, the Niners are 2.5-point favorites today against the Saints. Meanwhile, Giants head coach Brian Daboll announced this week that Russell Wilson would remain the team's starting quarterback for today's game against the Cowboys, despite that loss to the Commanders in Week 1. Adam, what are you hearing about their approach with rookie Jackson Dart continuing to develop?
Well, Hannah, one game always can change things, but right now the organization is preaching a sense of urgency. That's the phrase that came back to me a couple of different times. No sense of urgency to get to the rookie first-round draft pick, Jackson Dart. So Russell Wilson will start today for the New York Giants against the Dallas Cowboys. And if Russell Wilson plays well, if he produces, if the team wins, a lot of ifs, he'll keep playing. And when he doesn't, that's when it will have to become a decision for head coach Brian Daboll, general manager Joe Shane, and the rest of the organization. But in their perfect world, Russell Wilson's going to be out there for a little bit of time so they can give Dart time on the bench to grow into the type of quarterback that they believe he can be. Again, second straight road game. They've lost 8 straight games at Dallas. Dak Prescott has been tremendous against the Giants. It's a huge uphill battle for New York, but they really do say they want to stick with Russell Wilson.
Yeah, that was the original game plan. He completed just 2 of 12 passes for 26 yards, 2 sacks against pressure last week. Adam, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you top of the hour on NFL Countdown. Jay?
All right, Hannah, after the Chiefs' quest for a three-peat fell short at the hands of the Eagles, KC gets their Super Bowl rematch. And first on the field, our Jeff Darlington joining us live from Kansas City. Jeff, what has Andy Reid been emphasizing to his team this week after losing their season opener in Brazil?
Well, Jay, before I answer that question, a great stat for you. The Chiefs are 19-4 following a loss. So generally speaking, they do play well after that. And a lot of that has to do with what you just mentioned. Andy Reid getting his team ready. Now, he said this week that he felt like the Chiefs were flat to start that game against the Chargers in Brazil. Now, if you talk to people with the Chiefs, they'll tell you that some travel issues played into that, but they're not using that as an excuse. They're simply saying that they do feel like they're a better team than showed up in that game. Now, going into this one, Reed just emphasizing the idea of coming out fast, not slowing down at all. Patrick Mahomes saying you cannot especially do that against a team like the Eagles. They started with 3 consecutive punts in week 1. They eventually got themselves back on track, but they know if they are going to win this game, they've got to get out fast. Watch for that to be a point of emphasis in this game, Jay.
All right, Jeff Darlington, thank you much. We'll see you back in a bit for much more on this matchup. Hannah?
Yeah, our Sunday morning staples are with us. D. Woody is in the house. Herm is joining us from home, at least just for the next couple of weeks. So the Chiefs were the only team in their division to lose in week 1. We just heard that they've never lost 3 in a row with Patrick Mahomes at the helm. What do they need to adjust offensively today to get a win, Coach?
Well, they got to have some explosive plays, and Marquise Brown is the guy they got to get the ball to. Think about the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a young secondary, and now Kansas City's playing at home. They cannot afford to go 0-2, especially in the division they play in. The Chargers are much better. We know that. The Denver Broncos are much better. And the team that plays with the patch on their eye, the Raiders, are much better. So this is kind of a must-win for the Chiefs. They can't go 0-2. This is Arrowhead. They don't lose in Arrowhead. This is an important game for the Chiefs, and it's a revenge game as well.
Yeah, Coach, I agree with you wholeheartedly here. You think about this from the Chiefs' perspective. Okay, you played the game in Brazil. You've had a mini bye, so you should be well rested at home. And now you're facing up against a team that dismantled you in the Super Bowl, okay? The one matchup I'm looking forward to, Jalen Carter. We've talked about the Chiefs' offensive line and how much it has improved. Well, guess what? Jalen Carter coming off that Thursday night game where he was disqualified, he's going to be looking to exact some revenge on the field after that debacle on Thursday night.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Eagles getting a break. The league did consider him being out that whole game equal to a 1-game suspension for spitting on Dak Prescott. All right, Steve Spagnuolo's defense. They gave up 40 points to the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Who needs to step up today, Coach, against Jalen Hurts and the gang?
Well, D. Wood knows this. Chris Jones, right? I mean, he can impact the game, and Nick Bolton back in the back end as a linebacker. They've got to play well. I mean, you think about the Eagles. The problem they have is with the Eagles is Jalen Hurts. You got to contain him as much as anybody else. We know about Saquon Barkley, but Jalen Hurts is the guy that can make a lot of plays with his legs. So Chris Jones needs to show up. He's an all-star player. Nick Bolton needs to show up to slow this Eagle run game down. And it starts not with Saquon so much, but the quarterback.
All right, the Eagles are 1.5-point favorites over a Chiefs team. You mentioned it. They've won 12 in a row at home.
That's to his tight end, Kittle. And they will bring him down on the other side of midfield. A fresh set of downs to work with. It is 1st down and 10. Throwing is Purdy. No one open, he'll drop it to his running back. And good yardage there after the catch. They'll wind up with a gain of 7 on 1st down. Here's 2nd and 3 to go. They'll motion the tight end, Thomas. Off the play fake. Here's Purdy. Our throw here, right side, falls incomplete.
The biggest issue and why they find themselves trailing in this game, Mike, has really just been the ups and downs of this passing game. And sometimes he's highly accurate and efficient, but at others, he just misses too many easy throws. Question is, are they going to be able to overcome this quarterback inconsistency and pull this game out?
And he's going to have the 1st down as he gets out of bounds, and he stopped the clock as well.
Certainly not the biggest play of the day, but a good example of picking up positive yardage, staying ahead of the chains by a well-timed ball and a well-timed route.
Throwing again is Purdy. Hit as he threw it. The pass is incomplete.
Up until that incompletion, they've done a really nice job on this drive, Mike, picking up fresh sets of downs. And typically, throwing the ball on 1st down is a great way to do it. It's actually the easiest down in football to operate in. But now they find themselves in 2nd and 10. Do you keep it in the air and try to get the 1st down here? Or is the idea to just make 3rd down manageable and take your chances picking up a key 3rd down? There's a lot of ways to get the ball in the hands of your running backs, and it's not always by just handing it to them. In this case, it's a simple check down, picks up a good gain, brings up third down.
Third and short. Purdy able to complete it to Ayuk. And he will have the first down. The drive will continue after a pickup of 8. They'll throw again with Purdy. A throw on the move is caught. And he's in. Deebo Samuel. Touchdown, San Francisco. That's his second touchdown so far here in the first half. And that is number 2. Greg, he is off to some kind of start in this one. 2 quarters and 2 receiving touchdowns.
Mike, this is one of those situations where as a defensive coordinator, you've got to give your group an answer, because right now, they don't have one for this guy.
On is Moody to add the extra point. He's got it. And the 49ers are able to cut into the deficit. They didn't leave much time on the clock to put together a drive here at the end of the first half. And the kickoff's coming their way. Hardman now to return it. Whoa! And he'll work this one past the 25 to right about the 28-yard line. Here's 1st and 10. And they're just going to run it here up the middle. And that one shut down pretty quickly. He'll get back to the line of scrimmage. Nothing more. So we've reached halftime here at Arrowhead with the Chiefs on top. As we'll get you down to Orlando now. That's where the coach is, Jonathan Coachman, and our EA Sports halftime report.
Okay, Michael, thanks very much. And with that, we welcome you all into our EA Sports studios. This is the halftime report. We were treated to an excellent first half from the gunslinger, Patrick Mahomes. He came out of the gate smoking hot with 2 first-quarter touchdown passes to help steer his guys towards this halftime lead. The highlights are fairly one-sided to this point. It's a 2-touchdown difference here at the break, but I wouldn't call this one over just yet. I think there could still be some fireworks yet to come.
All right, Coach, second half, drawing near. Glad to have you back with us here on EA Sports. Pretty interesting first half. We'll see if any strategy changes for the next 30 minutes.